It's all about quality and quantity on Brewsday Tuesday. Here is Huck and Big Nate.
Huck and Big Nate.
All right, so I'm very excited for this round. This is there's a reason.
Okay.
Mentally, I think we progressed logically, but of course we are doing. Welcome back into Brewsday Tuesday, brought to you by the Cellar Restaurant Six Pack Store, the NA Beer Edition, and I'm gonna let you go first.
All right. Well, I have Athletic Brewing, and the triple IPA I just got, along with this one, is just a Brut IPA. Round of cheers. And I don't know, we went through a little Brut thing. I think it's like a year ago. Might have been 2 years ago. And everybody was making a Brut IPA, and they were not that successful. So this is a Brut IPA. So you can imagine what my expectations are. Low. I'm going to take a sip. Yeah, I'll get back with you later on.
So the Brut thing intrigues me, and I think this one I kind of specifically wanted to grab out of there because New Year's Eve, traditionally we have champagne, and that's kind of where the Brut comes from, is the dry champagne,
drier,
which has always been one of my favorite styles, and I'm just always intrigued when I see. Yeah, I do vaguely remember a couple of Brut IPAs hitting the shelves, and none of them were overwhelmingly good.
They were not. I mean, it did not. It was not really a thing.
It's not something that I think translates well to an IPA. To me, it should be juicy, kind of.
It was short-lived,
but
it's in, it was out.
It seems like they were focusing too much on the crisp aspect of it. So, very intrigued. But this I've got also from Athletic Brewing, one of my favorite styles of beer all around. Of course, I love the sours and the goses. This is a non-alcoholic Gose, which. Traditionally, a Gose is a sour with salt. Usually you add some sort of wild yeast in there and it ferments and does its thing. And then you kind of cut that fermentation down with the salt. The sea salt particularly has to be sea salt. So I'm intrigued at what point this was cut down and
excuse me,
how it's going to work, because it's that less than 0.5% ABV. And we're going to see how a non-alcoholic Gose.
Let's see how it goes.
God, that was a terrible joke. I'm sorry.
So since Nate wouldn't let me talk about what I want to talk about today, but we'll talk about it some other day. Let's talk about how you make an NA beer.
Yeah, I think that's probably important.
We've talked about it.
Probably should have done that first segment, but here.
No. They had to start whining first. So there's several ways. I don't know that I can enumerate all of them. And the first way is the traditional way they started, is you would make a beer, and then the boiling temperature of alcohol is slightly lower than the boiling temperature of water. So you would boil the beer until the alcohol is gone. Unfortunately, how do you make beer? You boil it. Yeah. What happens when you boil it? Things change chemically, specifically hops, malts, all the yummy things in there were then a little bit wounded by the extra boiling. So that wasn't successful, and nobody really liked the duels. So then, I think it was in Europe, they discovered reverse osmosis. Alcohol slightly smaller than water. So they developed techniques to put a membrane between two vessels and to let the alcohol leak out of one vessel and the other vessel. And that was quite successful, although there was, again, some loss of flavorful materials that were also smaller than water. I need a drink. Finally, the other method, there's two other methods that I know of. One was to chemically precipitate the alcohol out. Didn't work. They tried that. And the final way was to not create the alcohol in the first place. Use everything you used but less sugars and yeast, or even use short-lived yeast. And that's what I think Athletic does. And their beer is good. Now, let's circle back to the membrane. Meanwhile, there's been astonishing leaps forward. I read somewhere that they can make a membrane that'll remove any one of 5,000 different chemicals out of something. So they have really got that going.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of beers are using that too. But I think that we're going to see we saw a renaissance this year, and we're going to see a lot of NA beer coming up. I mean, if you look at what's selling, seltzers are in the toilet.
Yep.
They're not in the toilet. That's a misnomer. Nobody's getting rich off seltzers because there's way too many of them.
They've
People are still drinking them, but they're not growing.
Yeah.
Okay. Budweiser's not growing. Craft beer is not growing. What's going NA beer is growing. And I think, the other thing is the RTDs. I love using initials nowadays. Ready to drink beverages are growing. So I think the next thing we should invest our money in is sugar-free RTDs.
All right.
Low alcohol, sugar-free RTDs.
Little investing tip.
Yeah,
there.
I think that's we should, you throw at least $100 at it.
So when you go through the list of the processes, the one that stands out to me the most is the reverse osmosis. And the only reason it goes to my brain is, of course, you've got was it Jim Beam that did the Devil's Cut, where they kind of just reheated the barrels and got everything that had been absorbed by the barrel back out.
Yeah.
What are they doing with the alcohol that they filtered out through that membrane? Because it seems like there's also a market there for, of course, I think of things like Milwaukee's Beast, or like with the more fortified. So, like, are they reusing that in any capacity?
Well,
could you reuse it in any capacity?
The quick answer is, I don't know. The more nuanced, thoughtful answer is, I don't know.
It seems like, there's got to be, there are people who love their malt liquor. There are people who love their fortified beverages. Seems like there would have to be some sort of use for that. So
if it were me, I would take the alcohol from the NA IPA and put it in the A barley wine. That's what I would do.
I think that's a solid plan. Or just, put it back in the NA beer.
Well, like I said, I think that's not the way. I think most people are not creating the alcohol in the first place. I think that's what you're seeing now is a lot of beer. Everything's done, but they're fermenting it. Because, I baked a lot of beer. I made 60 batches of beer. And I can tell you what the alcohol content on any beer I ever made was going to be within a few percentage points. I don't see why I couldn't make a beer. You just have to be careful what you put in it.
Yeah.
How you flavor it.
Watch it.
But these people,
monitor.
As much as you diss these people out there that make beer, they know what they're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I don't think it's a passion that comes about casually or kind of because you're going to half-ass it. I think it is something that they take very seriously. And even, look at Pabst. They've been doing the same formula all these years. They know what they're making. They know they won their blue ribbon.
They went
all those years ago.
They went belly up again, I think.
But they know what they're doing.
They do.
Not business wise, but
no. But then, you look at InBev bought Budweiser, and does it change? I don't know. People are still buying the heck out of it. They don't beechwood age it on big giant stoves of beechwood. They throw a few handful of chips in there now and call it a day. Like, I don't remember back in the day, way long ago, there was Bartles and James wine.
Oh, jeez.
And they did these commercials, and it'd be Bartles and James. It wasn't. It was not. Okay.
B&J wine coolers.
Yeah,
I remember those glass bottles.
They would say, we'll serve no wine before it's time. And then, of course, Saturday Night Live, back when it was good, would say something like, we let it go. I don't care what time it is. Serve that wine.
Sorry.
It's a funny joke. But anyway.
All right. So now it's time for you to get back to me on that Brut IPA.
All right. Brut IPA. A brut, I'm going to give you the definition of this Brut IPA, which in fact will probably be the definition of all Brut IPAs. It's a pale ale where somebody dialed back the malt, and it's got just a smidgen of bitterness on the end. But yeah, this beer is going to get. I'm going to go ahead and score it.
All right, Huck's Beer Buzz on Untapped.
And it's nothing personal, guys. Don't be sending me notes about how you made this beer and it's so great. 2.5. Do not waste your hard-earned NA beer dollars on this beer. Get the triple IPA.
And I think it's interesting you bring it up, because every Brut IPA I've had, that's been my exact thought, is that they just somebody forgot to make your malt order, so you've got to make something. And
yeah, here's a beer. Here's a beer that it's not even going to get me high.
It's
not good.
It's like a hop.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's like a hop seltzer.
Pond water with amoebas. Okay, no,
I'm gonna go a different direction than you.
Oh, good. I'm glad, because we argued over who got which beer.
This,
slightly.
I chose right.
You did.
This non-alcoholic Gose. You're not gonna like it. It's not necessarily your style. I would be shocked if you gave it higher than a 3. But as far as Goses go, and the fact that it's non-alcoholic, I would drink this. I would absolutely, if I saw it, and I have to drive later, so I've got to consider what I'm drinking. It's this or just a regular Gose. I may, in fact, grab this.
Really?
Probably not, but I like to feel. I'm feeling positive, so I'm thinking I would make the right.
We call that a theoretical.
It's really solid. The Downwinder non-alcoholic Gose from Athletic Brewing Company. It gets a 4.5.
Whoa!
So pretty solid.
That is solid.
I think what they're doing with NA beers, pretty good. Everything I've had today, I haven't had the Brut IPA yet, but everything has been fairly decent. I think our biggest offender, of course, unfortunately, is the Untitled Art double IPA. But I think you try to make a double IPA into a non-alcoholic beer, you're gonna run into that. But the Pilsner was good. I liked the wheat.
Well, but the Athletic did the triple IPA.
Yeah, I thought the triple was delicious as well. So
so it can be done. Again, I think I'm gonna say the Untitled Art is probably using osmosis or heat. I don't know, but I read somewhere, I think the Athletic is using. They're trying to keep it down by using ingredients.
Well, all in all, I think this has been a victory. We're kicking off dry January correctly, but maybe we don't make this a habit.
Well, we never have, I mean, I'm going to try to make it a habit.
Okay.
But I mean, I'm almost better off not drinking anything. Seriously, this is just one more quick, AFib story. Is I quit drinking, for months and months because I was sick. And I came out and one night I had a couple bourbons and immediately went to AFib, like I was talking about. And so like 2 days later, I said, well, I'm just going to have a, Athletic NA beer. And I sat down with NA beer, drank it, and immediately went to AFib. I said, this doesn't even have alcohol in it. How can that happen? But I don't know.
Well,
I think it's because the stress part. I think the stress is more than alcohol. Because doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I get stressed, I go in.
Well, so my goal here is to not stress you out. I think we've had a lot of fun, and looking forward to seeing you again soon there, Huck.
I hope so. I'd love to be back.
All right. Well, that's going to be a wrap for our NA edition of Brewsday Tuesday. Huck, let's go get some real beers.
Yeah, I think we should.
See you again next week.
Bye.